Hello everyone, welcome back to Football Manager 2017 with Newcastle United, and following our epic finish to last season, we are starting very early this season. I haven't actually made any transfers yet, not a lot has really happened, we're still in June, but a couple of big things have happened that I do want to tell you about. And the first one you can see on the screen, and it's that the United Kingdom has now left the European Union. And luckily, there's no changes. No changes to the work permit system, no changes to restrictions on European players, but Brexit has happened. This is a huge selling point for the game and a huge source of promotion for the game when it first came out that they had implemented Brexit into the game. And there's quite a few different scenarios that can actually happen if you aren't familiar with this. One of them is that all of your EU players suddenly need work permits, and a lot of them can actually fail to gain work permits depending on how harsh the system goes. So I've been incredibly lucky to only have this happen in this save. It's sort of the best scenario possible. The other big thing that happened a little while before that, which is one of the reasons that we haven't actually had any transfers yet. I'll just see. There we go. The club has been taken over. Mike Ashley is gone, which will bring a lot of joy to a lot of Newcastle fans out there. If you are a Newcastle fan watching this and you're glad Ashley's gone, do drop a like on the video. It's not a big takeover. I'm not going to get a lot of money. They've had to take out a loan to help pay for the club, which isn't great. And he's helpfully informed me that around £1 million has been pumped into the club's coffers, which is absolutely brilliant when you've got £44 million in there already. No real impact. They didn't change the transfer budget, didn't change the wage budget, but they have kept me on. There's no worry there. So what will happen now is I'll jump through to the start of pre-season. You'll see I haven't even set up pre-season because we're still a couple of months away from the start of the official season kicking off. And I am looking at bringing in one or two players, but we'll see who they are in just a minute. Have now jumped forward to mid-July. We're already a couple of games into pre-season. You can see at the top right there is a must respond that I am waiting to show you. Pre-season going alright so far. We have won our first two games. Matches against Valencia, Cruz Azul, Maccabi Tel Aviv and Fenerbahce to come before we take on Manchester City in the Community Shield. That will be the last match of this episode. In terms of transfers, let's start there. If we have a look at our transfer history, you'll see we have signed a few players. The big piece of news, though, is that Michy Batshuayi has been sold. Now, we were struggling to get time down to a new contract. I don't think he wanted to be at the club anymore. But we did all right. We managed to get £25.5 million for him. We only paid 7.25, and I think the clauses mean that this will at least reach £30 million, possibly 32. He did do all right last season. He got 26 goals overall, but that usually came in the cup competitions because he was our versatility sort of player coming in for Origi when Origi was tired. Nobody else going out at the moment. I don't have any intention to really let other players go. The other players we brought in is Vlad Dragomir. He's not a great player, but he's one for the future. He's not too bad in his position. We got him quite cheap. Patrick Roberts, we managed to get on a free. He will be decent cover down the right wing for Lucas Vazquez and Joel Campbell. I think one of them might end up leaving this summer. We also brought in Melagoni, who I think is probably the best signing we've made so far this summer. He cost not too much money. I think it's because Watford got relegated, if I have a look at the competitions. Pretty sure they got relegated. The division hasn't loaded up yet. So we got him on the cheap. He's a really good player. We had to fight off Arsenal to sign him. He cost £15 million, but as you can see from his valuation, currently worth 25. So that is definitely a good bit of business. We also signed Damari Gray for 16.5. He is good on the left and right. He's also English, which means when we're registering players for the Champions League, he will fit in nicely. And then we also got Phil Jones, who is also English and will fit the registration standard quite nicely. He will also partner up very well with Michael Keane as English options. He's not had a bad time recently. He's just not getting as much game time at United. And £10.25 million. Don't mind if I do. So the other big piece of news is that I got offered the French job. The France want me as their manager, which is a little bit weird. They don't even want me to leave Newcastle to take the job. Now I am going to reject this. I'm not interested in international football at the moment. I also find that it does just kind of mess up the flow of a game. If I am going to take a football manager's job, internationally is going to be England. So I'm going to reject this job, even though it is a very nice offer, and France do have a very good team. My priority is Newcastle and trying to make a success of the Champions League before I worry about international football. So let's get through the rest of pre-season and then take on Man City. Pre-season has ended and it is now time to take on Manchester City in the FA Community Shield match at Wembley, our fourth visit to Wembley in just a couple of years. We have definitely turned things around at this club. It's been so long since Newcastle actually played at Wembley. I couldn't tell you when it was. Just the one transfer since the last update, and that is that we signed... Where is he? There he is. Valliere Germain. He's not a great player, but he has 15 finishing. He's ideal as a complete forward, and he's a good backup to Origi if there are any injury problems. His goal scoring history is actually quite good. He got 25 in 49 for Norwich, although that was in the Championship, and he also got 21 in 44 the year before, but that was in the Premier League. And he also had decent returns for Monaco as well, 17 and 17. So he's not a bad player, and he will definitely do the same job that Batshuayi did. He's rated about the same, so no complaints there. Origi is our star striker and will continue to do so. We've also got Patrick Roberts, who can play up there, as can Julian Green, that's the name I was looking for, who is our legend from last season. But for the match today, no real changes. Melagoni, the only new player coming into the team, and actually Phil Jones is starting at right back. So no major surprises in the team. I don't want to disrupt the flow of it too much, but hopefully we can beat Man City, get another piece of silverware back to St James's Park, and kick off the season in style. Phil Jones has taken the ball from Raheem Sterling. Now it's Joel Campbell. Cutting across, finds Melagoni. Back to Kovacic. Joel Campbell with a bit of time and space. Man out on his right. A perfect pass to Phil Jones. Whips the ball in towards Vazquez, but it is cleared away. Melagoni, the first player to it. Now Witsel across to Kovacic. Ball cut out by Sane, but Kovacic picks it up again. Finds Babarahman on the left. He pulls it in. Origi's in there, and it's headed away, but Otamendi with a foul. There was a push on Origi, and we've got a penalty. We've been dominating Manchester City up to now, and it's a chance for Melagoni to score on his debut, and he does! Melagoni, proving he was worth the money, buries that penalty away, and we're 1-0 up against Man City. It's not been the most entertaining game of football in the world, but Lacazette has scored a screamer. And trust me to say something like that, as Lacazette just goes for pure inspiration. City have been entirely on the back foot during this match, and we've completely dominated, but now we've been pegged back. Oh, it's going to penalties. I didn't see that coming. We were so dominant in this game, but apparently we need to win a penalty shootout. Kovacic does score, slots that straight by the keeper. Not the best penalty, but he's gone in. John Stones with the first one for City, and it's saved. Mangala does score, hammers it high into the middle of the goal. 2-0 up. Aguero knows how to score a penalty, and he does this time. Lucas Silva, not done much since coming on other than get a yellow card, and he's hit it straight at Rio. Jimenez can make it all square, but it's another good save by Murray. Jermaine, on his debut, does score. It's high into the roof of the net, 3-1. And Manchester City have to score their next penalty. It's Rodriguez who steps up. And he does. He's put it down the middle. Murray had already dived, which means that if we score this penalty, we win. It's Mamana to take it. And it's saved. Straight at the middle of the keeper. Lacazette, he scored the stunning equaliser. Can he score the equalising penalty? He does. Strongly into the bottom corner. Vazquez has to score now. And he does. Drills it hard, just the same place as Lacazette. Iheanacho needs to score to keep City in it. And he does. Patrick Roberts on his debut. He does score straight into the bottom corner. Excellent display of penalties from the team today. Garcia. Oh, he's scored as well. It's an absolute exhibition. Wijnaldum has scored as well. 8 penalties down now. Lindelof has scored, and I feel like this penalty shootout is never going to end. Gomez. He's not the greatest player in the world, but he still scores his penalty. Right of old. It's saved. Murray keeps it out. He's finally put an end to this penalty shootout, and you have to say we were deserved winners in this match. It's another victory at Wembley, a stunning performance from the team. It was only that Lacazette goal right at the last minute that gave City any hope, but we've managed to do it. We've won the Community Shield, the first team from outside the big clubs since Leicester to do that, and we've got another piece of silverware. It just doesn't stop at the minute. But that is going to be all for this episode. Apologies if it's a short one, but it's usually the style we take in the first episode of a season. We've got a good run of games to start the season off. Stoke, Huddersfield and Wolves in the Premier League, and big matches against Leverkusen in the Champions League playoff pace after we finished 4th last season. We need to qualify for the Champions League. Then it gets a bit tougher. We've got Arsenal to finish the next episode off. But I think our transfer business is pretty much done. Let me know what you think of it down in the comments. I really do appreciate your feedback. No stellar signings, but we didn't really have the transfer budget to make a big signing. So I went for some solid more players to round out the squad for the Champions League matches. We'll play less games this season, so hopefully a slightly bigger squad will help us. Don't forget to subscribe as well if you want to see how we do with our first season in the Champions League. Drop a like on the video if you enjoy watching us win the Community Shield. And until next time, see ya!